disciples of the Watch.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the Disciples of the Watch podcast, where we talk rock and metal and play tunes from independent artists from all over the globe. And now your hosts, Gene Vogel and Nate Matnich.
Disciples, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Disciples of the Watch.
In this episode, we're going to share some music, chat some news, and we'll wrap the show discussing the most and least played songs live off each Megadeth album. I am Nate Matnich.
And I am Gene Vogel. Thank you for joining us. Also, on this episode, we'll enjoy some independent music from Kasck. I hope I'm saying that right. Kasck and Midnight Vice. Nate, does that look like a Kasck to you?
Yes, nailed it.
Perfect. They are from India, so that's why I'm kind of concerned that I'm saying it right. Because, you know, me being a gringo, it don't get much whiter than this guy.
Funny.
So, yeah. But, Nate, before we get to all that, we got to play catch-up. What you been up to?
Yeah, I don't know. This, guess it's been a busy summer, fall, all that business. Had a good trip to Minnesota. You and I went record shopping, so that was cool. We got a chance to get together and have lunch and do some, hit some of our spots for records.
Yes.
I did a meditation intensive yesterday. It's a yearly event at this time of year. It's an all-day program. I usually do the audio-visual, but they've made it so easy now where you basically, you know, are just starting a video and stopping. There's 4 quarters, and yeah, it's really good. Number of meditation sessions throughout the day and chanting and, you know, teaching elements and things like that. So
nice.
Usually do that every year. I got a new drum. It's called a mridangam. It's from India. It's like a barrel style drum. I've had one in the past. I've played it a little bit, but I bought it from somebody who actually does lessons. He has a staff and he has a senior teacher. So he just hooked me up with him. So I'm gonna start doing some lessons so I can learn it out of a book or on YouTube, which is what I've kind of done in the past. But having an actual teacher, because it's a very regimented drum style with a long history. It has its own kind of language and everything. I'm looking forward to that. I just want to mention briefly also that I watched that Into the Void show on Hulu. It's fairly new, so I won't get into a bunch of details about it in case people haven't seen it, and I don't want to fucking ruin it for anyone. But there is an episode about Randy Rhoads that is really good. And having kind of been around that story a lot of my life, I felt like there was some good information in there that wasn't just rehash shit that you would expect to hear. So it was good, and it was a little bit of a tearjerker because some of the details that they talk about in there were, you know, fairly emotional. We all know how Randy Rhoads died, so that episode alone makes it worth watching. That's the first episode. The final episode is Dimebag Darrell. Again, you know, I've heard so much about that story as it's unfolded over the years, being a fan of Pantera since, you know, at least Vulgar Display of Power. And again, that had some good content in it, and it's another tearjerker, of course. So, yeah. And they really got deep in some of that stuff, some of the information around there. And, you know, they got Phil on there talking about that time. And I can just imagine how hard it was, because he was a real motherfucker around that time when Dimebag was killed and was saying some pretty nasty shit. And he's got to live with all that stuff, you know, today. And, you know, he talks about that a little bit. So, but they talk about some more obscure. There's 8 episodes. Each episode is devoted to a band. They've got some like female fronted bands in there that like didn't get any, you know, really get a lot of recognition. I'm thinking of the band Cat. I can't forget the woman's name that was the front, but yeah, it's worth watching. I thought it was well done. I binged it. Like, I watched 7 episodes in a row, and then I watched the final one like the next day.
Is it the Great Cat, the guitar shredder gal?
I can't remember for sure. I'd have to go back and look now. I knew about who it was. I knew about her when I saw, you know, the episode, but now that it's passed, I just don't remember. The other woman was Anne Boleyn.
Oh, yeah. Let's look here. Wasn't trying to share that. That's the one. Does that look like the gal?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm pulling it up right now. Oh, yeah, they got the Judas Priest. There's one about Chuck Schuldiner. Oh, Wendy O. Williams. There was one about Wendy O. Williams. Hellion with Anne Boleyn. So I was wrong about Cat. I don't know where I came up with that. So, anyways, well done. Worth checking out.
Yeah, I definitely gotta check that out. Of course, right now we don't have our Hulu set up. I had a credit card, or not a credit card, my debit card sent to me, and we got tap to pay now. So the number's different, and I didn't update Hulu, so I'm getting these notifications on my app saying that they're trying to charge me on a dead card. I mean, not the Hulu app, but the my credit card app, or from my bank, or my credit union, I should say. So it's like, well, should we let that ride for a while? I don't know if we need to keep paying for all these damn services.
I'm about ready to pull the plug on most of them. I just watch a handful of stuff, really. And when in reality, I don't watch a lot of TV. And when I do, I watch old shit that I've watched in the past, because I just can't stand most new shit coming out. It's not even entertainment anymore. It's just there's either some kind of agenda being pushed, or, I don't know. It's just garbage. There's not very much good stuff coming out, I should say. But anyways.
Yeah. And then they're all raising their prices so much. It's like, okay, this is starting to get ridiculous. It used to be, like, oh, that's not too bad. I could spend that much. Even if I don't watch anything in a month, it's not a big deal. Keep it going. And then now it's like, well, shit, if I put that towards a bill, I could start paying some shit off quicker or whatnot.
Well, and if you want commercial free, you're paying almost $20 a month for most of those apps now.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we do.
Yeah. That's kind of the short of what I've been up to.
Well, I don't have a whole lot going on. Just been working with, between work and everything else. But the band, we're doing the band thing. And I decided I'm trying to make it real, and I haven't gotten to a chance to do it yet, but it sounds like we're going to start moving rehearsals to back to my basement. So if that's the case, then I really need to get my stuff organized in the rehearsal space that I have set up. And to that end, that might push me to do the side project that I'm contemplating starting up, or at least starting to write with, but I want to come up with a Doom adjacent, sludge, whatever type of band. And I'm going to do a solo project. So it's just going to be just me. And then that way too, I can probably do the drums for it as well. If I decide I want to record it, if it gets that far, I need to start with the writing process first. And that has always been at the back of my mind, but I thought I want to get a guitar that's going to be just for this project so I can down tune it and just have it set up for that. And I finally did pick one up. It's a Hamer Stellar. And I haven't seen many of those around, and it's a cheap guitar, $300 or something like that. So it's nothing that, it's decent, but it's not like, I'm not, breaking the bank to have a project guitar, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then while I was shopping for that and I found that, there was another guitar that came up that I wanted, I was lusting for. And that was a Hamer Vector. So that's a Flying V guitar. And I did reach out to the seller, who was in not too far from where I live, and asked him about the neck, because I'm very particular with the necks. I don't want a big old fat baseball bat type neck in my hand. I don't have the hands for it. And there's a comfort level that I like. And the guy said, no, it's got a great neck on it. And of course, he starts going into different brands and stuff. I'm like, all right, well, this is where you lose me, because I don't have a lot of experience with all the different brands. And he said, he basically said it was a good neck, and he had dropped the price out actually right before I contacted him. Hence the reason for me contacting him. And then he went out of country for a week, and then he came back and lowered the price. So I was like, oh, damn it. This is getting into like, okay, now somebody's going to jump on this thing, and he wanted to move it for, I don't know if it was just to clear out room. I can't remember what his reasoning was, but he had enough guitars when I got to his house. So, and then he actually gave me a price break on that as well. He said, well, yeah, if you're still interested, I know you're pretty serious since this is a second time you've contacted me. So I'll knock another $25 off. So I'm like, well, I can be there. He was literally 5 minutes from the branch I was at for work. So I went and picked it up, and it was like kind of like an instant connection where I picked it up and I started noodling with it. I'm like, oh, this neck is perfect. And even just holding the guitar and playing around with it, I kind of didn't want to take it off. So I don't know if I've ever had that experience with a guitar, that type of click, that connection.
That's cool.
So I thought, like, I'm taking it. I can't, if I see this thing for sale and somebody else gets it, I know I'm going to be bummed. But that's one I'm going to be using for Mortificator. And I mean, I could use it for this other project too, should I decide I want to, but I don't necessarily need to. So I did take it to rehearsal on Friday, a couple days ago, and it was a lot of fun to play, and it's balanced so perfectly. And just, I was like, oh yeah, this is nice. Now I just need to get a good case for it. Of course, that's going to cost a little bit more too, but it's definitely worth it, and I want to protect it. But yeah, so that's been, what I've been up to as far as spending money. I picked up some records too here and there, and actually somebody in a neighboring town, well, it's technically across the river, Chaska, for Nate, or for you, those of you who know the Twin Cities area. There was a guy who said he had this guitar amp from the 80s. It's an old Yamaha, 100-watt amp. And he said he's like, well, I cleaned it up and then I loaned it to a church and they had it in a musty basement. And when I got it back, it was like scratchy and poppy. And he's like, so I just stored it. And he said, so it's been sitting around for years and now he's moving. He's like, I don't have the time to work on it, and I don't have the desire to work on it, so I'm going to give it away. And I jumped on that thing immediately, and then I raced over there on my lunch break and picked it up and made a new friend. I mean, he was a pretty cool guy, and he even said, if you get this working and you start using it, send me a picture. And I couldn't even wait. I got it in my garage and I started plugging it in and I started cleaning it up and spraying all the pots out and stuff. And sure enough, I got it to usable condition. So I took it with me to rehearsal on Friday, and that thing was cranking. I was like, dang, I got to play around with it a little bit more and do a little more work on it. But yeah, it's I was looking at some websites. It's like, yeah, that might have been about a $500 amp if he had got that thing working and wanted to sell it. But that's not my plan. My plan is not to recycle it and try to make a profit. It's to use it in the spirit of my new friend Terry from Chaska. So yeah, that's been it. It's been getting back into that, and I need to start working more on my guitar skills again and working on my scales and whatnot. But that's been my life a little more recently as far as the stuff that I've been enjoying to do, other than hanging out with you and going shopping and going to one of your favorite restaurants. And although the Minneapolis was tore up when we went down there, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, I forget about that shit because I don't live there. So it was tore up when I was there this summer too. Hennepin Avenue is just a fucking mess. But that food at Namaste
nice.
Cafe is pretty amazing.
Yeah, nice food, nice staff, nice spot. We could just sit there and watch the cars try to work their way through the traffic or through the construction area there.
Yeah, man.
Well, and then they had the street shut down down on the other side for the market, or whatever the hell he said it was, that was going on down there.
I got a coffee table in my living room that we bought at that art fair.
Oh, nice.
Yep. It had to have been over 5 years now because it was before COVID.
Yeah, and it's been a while since I've been to that cheapo that we went to. And so that was kind of nice to get back in there. Of course, then we ran into Nate from, I'm blanking on the
Wicked Inquisition. His new band is Extermination Day.
Yes, and then he was also in Satan Satyrs.
Oh, yeah, right. Yep, he did an album with them. Yeah, I messaged him on Instagram and said I walked by you in cheapo, but I was stoned, and so like my introverted nature was really there, and I just walked right by it and say hello or whatever. He's like, don't be shy, my guy. I'm like, all right, man. That's funny.
I said hello for us, so I covered.
Oh, right on. It's funny. I follow him on social media, and just randomly, he works out and stuff, and he's posted some pictures of it. And I don't know, you just don't see it in the photos. But when I saw him in person, I was like, damn, he's got a little bit of a build. He's got a little bit of a build. I just thought it was funny because I see him all the time on Instagram, and he's talking about it. But, I don't know. Pictures don't always show what's up. Anyways,
that's true.
I'm curious about their new project though, Extermination Day. They did put out a CD over COVID that I think he did all by himself. But now he's got an actual band. Yeah, we'll checking them out.
Yeah, and they just got signed to a label.
Yeah, they did. I can't remember the name.
What it was. It wasn't Wormhole Death, was it?
I don't even know if I'd know it if you said it.
Well, speaking of all the shopping we did, let's talk about what we got.
Oh, Jesus, man. I bought a lot of stuff, so I got a big list here. I'm just going to blaze through it kind of, but this is all coming to an end here. All this, I can't keep buying all this stuff, especially it's just gotten crazy, but it's been fun over the last couple of months buying a ton of new music to add to the collection. So, make hay while the sun shines or whatever kind of saying applies here. But for hip-hop stuff, I got Victor Vaughn, Vaudeville Villain at Cheapo Records in Uptown, Minneapolis. Victor Vaughn, this MF Doom, he, had all these different personas and rapped and under those personas. One of my favorites is Mad Villain. This one's okay. It's got some good songs on it, but like as a whole album, it's not a favorite for sure. I got Ghostface Killah, Supreme Clientele. I picked that up at Angelo's Records here in Denver on Broadway. I bought this one. I really like Ghostface a lot. I like the way he raps. I like his words. But he's got Supreme Clientele 2 just came out. It's been out on streaming, but I ordered the vinyl and the vinyl hasn't been released yet. But killer album. I've really been enjoying that one. For classic rock stuff, I picked up The Doors, Waiting for the Sun. I picked that up at Cheapo in Uptown Minneapolis. This was like a reissue from analog tape type of a release. It sounds really good. I kind of soured on The Doors for a long time, and I've kind of been coming around back to them again. So, see, I got Velvet Underground with Nico. I've been wanting to add that to my collection for quite a while. It's not like a hard one to find or anything. It just slips my mind a lot. So I had made a list. I went to the Rocky Mountain Records show here recently. So since I've been here, living out here 5 years, they come around twice a year and they have this show, and I've always wanted to go. And I finally went. So I picked this up there. It was pretty cool. I guess there was multiple floors and I didn't realize it. I just walked around the main floor, and it's funny. I spent like $30 to get the early entry. From like 10 to noon, you can come in before the main public comes in at noon, which I wanted to just get in there before it was a mob scene and before people pick over like the real good stuff, I guess. And then you pay $15 for parking, and I was only in there an hour and a half because I don't care if I love something more than anything in the world. I don't want to spend a bunch of fucking time shopping. I just don't like it, I look around, and then after a little while, I'm just like tired of the people and, the whole fucking scene. But anyways, I picked that up there, the Velvet Underground with Nico. For funk, I got Simond. It's a self-titled album. I picked that up at Rocky Mountain Records show. I picked up the Westbound Sounds, which is a compilation of funk bands from Westbound Records in Detroit. The album is called Foundations, and I'm pretty sure it's songs that have been used in hip-hop a lot. Like they've sampled beats and things from these albums or these songs. I got that at Angelo's in Denver on Broadway. There was another Westbound Sound compilation I'd heard some years ago on streaming, and I'm not finding it now, but it had really fucking good songs on it, and I wish I could find it, and I wish I could find the vinyl of it for sure because I would buy it, but I got my eyes open. This was a new release, like a record store day release from like last year or something like that. For funk, I also picked up Ohio Players' Honey. I got that at the Rocky Mountain Records show. For reggae, I got Rastafari, The Dreads Enter Babylon, 1955 to 1983. I picked that up at the Electric Fetus in Minneapolis. This is it's a compilation of reggae music and how it ties to Rastafari, and also has like Nyambinga drumming, which is the drumming style, the African drumming style that reggae patterned their drum rhythms after, and rocksteady and ska and all those kind of came from this Nyambinga drumming. This was like a total whim. I just thought it looked cool. I thought maybe it was going to be super tribal or something. It's actually a really, really good reggae compilation. So I was super fucking glad that it turned out to be so good. I picked up Gladiators for reggae, The Symbol of Reality. I got that at the Electric Fetus. I picked up Peter Tosh, No Nuclear War, and Mystic Man. I got those at Cheapo in Minneapolis. I picked up Max Romeo, Revelation Time, and I got that at the Electric Fetus in Minneapolis. For death metal, I got Spectral Voice. I picked up both Sparagmos, that's their most recent album, and Necrotic Doom. I ordered those off Darkness Descends Records, which actually is in Colorado Springs. I thought it was funny, that was their P.O. box when I got, because I mail ordered these. And anyways, they're right in Colorado here. I also got Incantations Decimate Christianity from Darkness Descends Records. And while I was shopping at the Electric Fetus in Minneapolis, I picked up Incantations The Infernal Storm. And then a mix of other stuff, you know, some punk rock type stuff. I got Black Sabbath's Eternal Idol from Angelo's. This is a Record Store Day release, the last one, I think, from April. They have a pile of these, and I'm seeing a pile of these all over in record stores. So this release for Black Sabbath, for Record Store Day, has obviously not been very popular because I've seen it everywhere. Even when we were shopping in Minneapolis, I was seeing it on the shelf, you know? So kind of funny. But, you know, I wasn't necessarily going to collect everything from Sabbath on vinyl, but now I'm only like 3 albums away from having them all. So now I'm just going to, I'll just finish it out at some point here. I picked up Alice in Chains' Jar of Flies at Cheapo, and that's the second time I bought this record now. So again, like this winter, it's going to be a primary focus for me to get my record collection catalog, because it's getting super hard to remember stuff now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been keeping good track, but now it's getting tough. I got Misfits' Legacy of Brutality at Cheapo, and then I picked up Acid Bath, When the Kite Strings Pop, from the Rocky Mountain Record Show. And I had not ever really listened much to Acid Bath, though Greg Chilton of Ritual Madness podcast, I can never fucking see this band without thinking of him because he's a fanatic. And some other people I know have spoken very favorably of this band. I bought the record and I listened to it, and it is way different than what I expected. It's got a lot of variety of different types of metal sounding, music going on this record. It's not just like, because they're called sludge. So I'm thinking it's going to be like an I Hate God band, but it's a really varied album. It's very, very cool. I'm glad I got that one. And that's it, man. That's my list over the last fucking couple months.
Quite the list. Fabulous. Oh, by the way, Extermination Day, they were with Argonauta Records.
Nice.
Well, my list is sad compared to what you just went through there, but it'll be quick and easy. I picked up Hell Awaits, so I filled in one of my Slayer holes at Cheapo there, and then I also, the one that I almost bought a long time ago and I didn't, and then I just kept seeing the price go up on that one, so I finally saw it there, and they had a used copy, and for the price I was willing to pay, so I snagged that quick, and that was the Whitesnake Purple album, and this is actually the re-release, so they remastered it or something like that after it had been out a while, and then they included a couple extra songs or something like that on there. So it was pretty nice. I jammed that one immediately and was like, yeah, God, this is why I should have bought it a long time ago. It's pretty good. They do a good job and a little more modern sounding.
I want to get that one.
Although I wonder if there's some computer work done to Dave's voice. But I know it was a while ago, but not that long ago, because we saw him at the Taste of Minnesota, and you could hear him. It was like, oh yeah, he's lost a step since the '80s, and understandable. Especially with a voice like his.
He was kind of getting old in the '80s, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, you've been around a while. Yep. So, but yeah, great album, and I'm glad that I got that because it's been on my Amazon wish list for a long time, and I don't even know if I've ever actually seen it in the store. So I was surprised when they had a copy there used. I'm like, yep, I'm going to snag this. Then in the Fetus, I picked up Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears. That was one I ordered off of Amazon when they did a re-release on something like that. And they shipped me a damaged copy. They put it in frickin' like a plastic bag, and it got damaged. So I think they sent me a second one, and then that one got damaged, and then they said they couldn't send another one because they ran out of copies. And I'm like, just fucking give me my money back. This is ridiculous. They're doing a little bit better nowadays, but at any rate, I've got that one off my to buy list now by finally just snagging it from the Fetus. And then I also picked up Exodus Bonded by Blood. Wasn't a must have, but I saw it, and after we had just done that Exodus Worst to Best not that long ago, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick up the album that kind of launched Exodus. Why not? And it's not a bad album by any means, but I think that, when I was listening to it, I had this kind of epiphany that I think I'm glad that they went to Zetro after that album, because I like Zetro's style more and his voice more. I know Bailoff was obviously a force as far as being a front man and stuff, but his voice is like, you're really nothing unique about it, nothing that stands out. And Zetro brought that to Exodus.
Yeah. Yeah. Bonded by Blood's worth having. It's one of their 2 good albums.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, they got one coming out next year, so we'll see if they can up their game with Rob Dukes back on vocals.
Yeah, I heard him. I saw a thing where he said that it's just the best thing he's done to date. The typical.
And the fans are going to love it. Yeah. You gotta be your own salesman, I guess. When you're in Exodus or when you're in music altogether, for that matter. This was one I picked up just kind of on a whim because I own a lot of Wasp, but this one had some unreleased pieces in there, and sometimes I enjoy just grabbing. It's like you want to listen to records like, oh, I feel like listening to Wasp, and it's like, well, do I listen to the first one, or of course you're probably gonna go with the live one, but I understand that. But if you're like, I want to hear some studio stuff, and I really enjoy like best of or greatest hits collections for that fact. Or, it's a nice sample provider. Some artists, that's all I need. Give me Boz Scaggs greatest hits, and that's all I need. I don't go deep with an artist like Boz Scaggs. So this one, the best of the best from 1984 to the year 2000. And so then it also had some more of the more recent stuff that I don't have on vinyl. I mean, I do have the Crimson Idol, and then I got the, when I was in Scotland, I got the CD set of the Reeve Ducks version of where the hell they did with it. So I've got copies of that, on vinyl, the original. But it's just nice to have some variety and some more of the, like Babylon is on there, and I don't have that on vinyl. So if I want to hear it on vinyl, it's there. But they kick it off with Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and for a cover that they, one, did not need to do, and two, did not record very well. Either that or they didn't remaster it for this vinyl release, because when it started to play, I was like, oh shit, this is going to sound like garbage. But as soon as they get into the first real Wasp track, on track 2, it's like, oh, okay, that sounds better. I'm still not impressed. I would say, if you're looking at that one, see if you can get it on sale. Because the audio quality on that, maybe I need to put it on my cheap record player and see if it sounds better. Because sometimes that works, right?
Like when you listen to black metal, you got to put it on the cheap player.
Yeah, get that Fisher Price unit out. Let that spin on that little built-in speaker. Hell yeah. I also picked up the Black Crowes Lions, which wasn't really on my radar, but I'm on this, what's it called? Not Discord. It's one of those things that lights up on my phone, and there's a group I'm in with vinyl sales, and it popped up, a Reddit, that's it, with the Black Crowes Lions for a good price, and I went on and picked it up immediately. I actually listened to it a little bit first on Spotify, and I was like, you know what, I definitely want to own this. So jumped on it immediately before they were either sold out or they jacked the price back up. And finally, I picked up, BPMD, the covers album from the band American Made, which features Bobby Blitz Ellsworth on vocals, Mike Portnoy on drums, Mike Mengi on bass, and Phil Demmel on guitar. And it's got some pretty cool stuff on it. I was almost going to pull the trigger on a vinyl, but then after a while I'm like, would I listen to this on vinyl? I don't know if I would. And I saw the CD was $10. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to pull the trigger and get that. Support the band, and of course, but it's the only thing that they've ever put on. Although I think there was talk they might do some more stuff like this, so we'll see what happens. But it's older covers, if I remember correctly. I cracked the shrink on it, and I digitized it immediately, and then I put it in my car. I just haven't had a chance to listen to it and refresh my brain on it. And another thing that I found out that I bought and I forgot about was Rob Halford Biblical. I forgot that I owned his second book. I think it's the second, if I remember my series of Rob's writings correctly. But I was like just flipping through my, because I caught up on all the podcasts I listened to, and I was like, I think it was mowing. I was like, I want to listen to something and not necessarily music. And I flipped through to see if there was something that I got for free or something like that. Cause I know I got like a Conan book that I'll poke at every once in a while. And all of a sudden there's Unread, Rob Halford, Biblical. I was like, oh shit. Well, that's great. So I started listening to that, and I'm actually almost done with it already. I've been kind of binge listening to it in a fashion. I'll take breaks to listen to some podcasts and whatnot, especially now the football season's here. But yeah, it's fun listening to Rob read. He's very good at it too. I know I was picking on what's his name from Toto, the guitar player from Toto, reading his book, and it's like, well, yes, it's nice to hear the author read it in his own voice. Not everybody's cut out to do the reading of their own work, and Rob Halford does a good job.
Yes, he does. On the other one, I haven't heard Biblical yet, but
yeah, it's his take on music industry and his experiences and stuff, and he covers a few bits that he kind of rehashes from the book, but he kind of just mentions it more of an aside. But he takes some jabs at his bandmates as far as their relationships with each other, because that was a problem with the guitar players, with KK and Glenn not getting along, and he'll talk about that a little bit in there. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Plus, it's Rob. Now, Nate, we got to get to some music here. We got to get some jamming going.
Yeah, I've been itching to share this one for a while.
Nice.
I was in Chain Reaction Records here in Lakewood, Colorado, sometime earlier this summer, and they were listening to some death metal in there, and I was flipping through records, and I'm listening to it, and it's almost like reminiscent of some Portal and maybe some Antediluvian and some other bands like that, like super, like cavernous like vocals and down-tuned guitars, just really like not super fast-paced, all this type, like it's a different type of death metal than like a Cannibal Corpse, for instance. But so I asked the dude, because I was like, who is this, and he said they're called Spectral Voice, and he said basically it's Blood Incantation with a different drummer. And so I'm like, wow, it fucking sounds awesome. So I ordered those. I ordered 2 of their albums off of Darkness Descends Records, as I had mentioned earlier, and been listening to them, and of course listening to them online. Like Blood Incantation is way more of a polished sounding death metal band, if you're familiar with them, and this is more primitive sounding, but not black metal primitive. So you can actually listen to this one on your good record player.
That's good.
So I found some notes online just about the band I just wanted to mention. So it says Spectral Voice is a death doom metal band from Denver, Colorado, known for their atmospheric and heavy sound that combines the crushing elements of death metal with the slower, oppressive qualities of doom metal. And also, their music features heavily distorted guitars, slow crawling pace, and deep guttural vocals that draw comparisons to bands like Incantation and Disembowelment. Super cool band. Really, this is, especially going to like a metal record store, Chain Reaction, they're always playing some really cool punk rock or cool metal in there. And, it's cool to hear something different and be able to ask, hey, what is this? And get turned on to something different. So this is one of the newer ones. And their most recent album is called Sparagmos. And the song that I'm going to play is called Be Cadaver. So hope you dig it. It's a long one.
How long are we talking?
I think it's like just under 12 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's a fucking long-ass death metal song.
They have like 4 songs on their albums, and they're just long songs. So
similar to Blood Incantation.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, so that was Spectral Voice with the song Be Cadaver from their album Sparagmos. And I don't know what else to say about it, man. There are a lot of really cool metal bands out here. So, in the underground scene, I think not just probably underground, but a few of them that come to mind right off the bat is this band, Spectral Voice, Blood Incantation, Green Druid, who I picked up, or I discovered through Earache Records. They're a doom band here from local. So there's other ones, man. Cool metal scene out here. And a lot of them sing about, like aliens and different space type shit, because there's a lot of that type of lore up here in the Rocky Mountains.
Nice. It's also good for a change of pace lyrically.
Yeah, that is one thing that's drawn me more in these other directions is like, you get kind of tired of some of the over-the-top death metal, gore and I don't know. There's ways to be dark without just being ridiculous. And Cannibal Corpse is always the one that comes to mind. They just for whatever reason, they were just way over the top.
All right. You ready to talk some news, Nate?
Yeah, this first piece is, I'm looking forward to discussing it a little bit.
Awesome. Well, before we get to that, how about the intro?
And now, the news on Disciples of the Watch.
I do want to mention before we get into the deep part of the news, because I don't want to discuss it a whole lot, just a tip of the cap, a mention that, and it's been a while, Thomas Lindbergh of At the Gates, he had passed away at 52, and turns out he was battling cancer. And that's a band that Nate, we always go through these lists, and that's one of their albums. I'm forgetting which one that was always in those lists, like must listen to if you're in a death metal. You got to listen to At the Gates' whatever album that I'm blanking on it. And
I've never liked it.
I keep thinking,
and that's why I can't remember the name either.
It. Oh, I wonder if I own it. I remember when I was buying cheap digital downloads from the Russians. I may have picked it up, but I didn't obviously give it its due. But yeah, that was a surprise, but yeah, he kept it quiet that he was battling that. And unfortunately, we lost.
Was it Slaughter of the Soul from 1995?
Yes, I feel.
Yeah, that's the one.
I feel like perfect. I usually recognize it by its cover.
Yeah, that's what I did too when I opened this up and saw it. Yeah, it's their fourth album. So, yeah, rest in peace, man. I'm only 1 year away from 52. That's fucking young, man, to be dying.
Yeah, well, cancer, that's a problem. You can't always dodge that bullet.
Nope.
No matter the age. Well, Nate, a bit of good news following that is Rush. They have announced a 2026 small tour with GEDDY and Alex getting back together and being joined by ANIKA, NILLES. Have you heard how that one's sounded or pronounced, Nate?
I don't know.
Or is it just
Niles?
Double L, Niles?
Nils or Niles?
NILLES. Yeah, I haven't heard anybody say it yet, so I should have done some homework on that maybe before I tried to pronounce it, but it didn't even dawn on me until just now. Like, oh, I don't know how to say that. And it's funny because I do remember somebody in one of the Rush groups saying, of course, they had to pick a drummer with another last name that people are going to have battles over how to say it. Oh,
yeah, totally. That's funny. I didn't hear that, but that is a funny, yeah.
Is it Pert? Is it Peart? So here you go. Yeah, they're back together. They're going to be doing a 50-something celebration, of course, not just for the band, but they want to do a celebration of life for their late drummer, Neil Peart. This is actually, I think that's, when I saw that part, I was like, oh, even better. I'm like, the fact that these guys have decided that they can't stay away. And they're getting back together. The fact that they're also going to incorporate this celebration of Neil with is, I'm excited to see this. I hope they're good about this. They got to video it. They got to make sure that they can get it out to the rest of us that can't afford the thousands and thousands of dollars that it is to get a ticket for one of these events. So on the tour, he says it's been over 10 years since this is GEDDY. Alex and I have performed the music of Rush alongside our fallen bandmate and friend Neil. And that was the Rush R40 tour. That the final one was August 1st of 2015. So just celebrated 10 years gone since that final show. And that was at the Forum in Los Angeles, California.
I saw that tour.
Yes, you did. And I should have went with you. Let's see. And so after that, all that time has gone since the last show. Alex and I have done some serious soul searching and come to the decision that we fucking miss it, and that it's time for a celebration of 50 something years of Rush music. So in 2026, my BFF Lurkst, also known as Alex LIFESON, and I are going to hit the road once again to pay tribute to our past and to Neil by performing a vast selection of Rush songs in a handful of cities. No small task, because we all know Neil was irreplaceable. Yet life is full of surprises, and we have been introduced to another remarkable person, an incredible drummer and musician who is adding another chapter to our story while continuing her own fascinating musical journey. Her name is ANIKA NILLES. We'll get some clarification on that someday. And we could not be more excited to introduce her to our loyal and dedicated Rush fan base, whom we know will give her every chance to live up to the near impossible role. Before we hit the stage, we also hope to add another musician or two to expand our sound a wee bit and free up Alex and I in order to show off some of our fancy new dance steps. Now that's worth the price of admission alone right there.
Hey, according to Wikipedia, her last name is pronounced NILLES.
Ah, so there's a third.
ANIKA NILLES.
NILLES. Okay. Like somebody cut her off at
yes,
just
she's
above the knee.
NILLES. Exactly.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you for your homework on that.
Glad we got that one sorted out, man.
Hell yeah. Now I just got to remember it. NILLES. That's, although the visual, it helps of her being knee-less, but that'd be just harder to play the drums. Should give the guy from Def Leppard a run for his money.
Yep. Maybe she could call him for tips. Lurkst.
Let's see. Lurkst, ANIKA, and myself, along with many of our longstanding crew members, have been hard at work rehearsing and designing the kind of Rush show you've grown accustomed to expect from us. We dearly hope you will come along and help us celebrate our history together. And then Alex chimed in and says, I'm sorry, Lurks chimed in. We're musicians and we're players, and our music is special. It really is special. And being away from it for a while and revisiting it, I realized how difficult it is to play, but how rich it is in its music and lyrics and everything that it represented. He also added, one cool thing about how this is progressing, all the songs we're putting together, we have 35 or so songs so far for a set that's going to be, I don't know, around a couple of hours, is the fact that we are going to cover a lot of things and change it up night to night, but we'll always have a part of the show that's a tribute to Neil and his memory of him and everything that he was to us. And it's going to be beautiful to be able to celebrate him every single night. So yeah, there's a video that I'll attach into the show notes at dotwpod.com. I'd recommend you check that out. It's a 5-minute video of them with this announcement, and it's kind of fun just watching them. I almost was going to cut the audio and put it in, but I thought it's better to see it than just to hear them, because those two are just made for each other. They're like best friends, and they're goofy and they're fun. And that was one of the magic of Rush. Even with the three of them together, I know Neil was a little bit more reserved, but he also had his fun side, and worked well with the two of those goofballs. So yeah, there's a lot of information, and obviously we'll get more as we get closer to June of next year when it kicks off in Los Angeles. And I'll be curious to see if they add any more dates. But
they added more than what you have here in the notes.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to see if they're coming to Colorado, but they're doing a select, so I don't know why they would go way the fuck up in here, but I would probably go see it if they came through here.
And those tickets aren't cheap. I've been seeing screenshots at the discussion groups on Russia's fan groups on Facebook, and it's like, damn. Maybe I don't even know if I could afford a ticket to stand outside to see if I could press my ear up against the building.
Yeah. Well, when I first saw this, I didn't really think too much of it other than, they had a really special bond, and they said that the reason why they were able to continue making music all those years and not have any of the typical drama that a lot of bands go through is that they just came together when they felt like they wanted to make music together. And so they weren't forcing anything, and they were all friends. And so when they got together, they just, they clicked. And so I was thinking, like, how do you continue on with that dynamic being gone? One of the key ingredients, I guess. So
yeah,
I didn't really poo-poo the idea or anything or have anything negative about it. I just was like, it just seemed kind of odd. But now, as like a little bit of time has gone by, I've become more excited about it. I think it's pretty cool that they're doing it. And, it must be tough for Geddy Lee and Alex when you do that your whole life and then all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. Like Kerry King has talked about that too with Slayer. Like, I'm not ready yet to be done here. What's up, So these guys obviously are way older than Slayer, but.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's like, I know Alex has some difficulty with his, I forget what he has, but I think it's arthritis. And it's like, that's not going to get better, as you get older. And, you're battling the clock. And if you want to do something, you got to just do it. And the opinion of the public be damned, and that's why, retirement for some people might sound like the path they want to go in until they're in it. I mean, Ozzy did it in the 90s, and thank God he didn't fucking stick with that or feel like he had to be trapped in a decision that he decided was not the right decision, and here we're dealing with the death of a very prominent band member, but they're not talking about recording. I mean, and if they did, I'd be curious. But this is a kickoff of a celebration for the band, for Neil. And, I feel like it's, cause like when you had Taylor Hawkins, I mean, that was a huge thing. The Back to Beginning show with, Black Sabbath, that was huge. And it's like, I like the fact that bands, I feel like they have an opportunity to just do it. If you want to have like a celebration of a past member, or if you want to come and celebrate your band in that fashion, and you have the history, I'd like to see Aerosmith do something like this. Or, maybe a one-off, like a Taylor Hawkins type of show, or the Back to the Beginning type of thing. They don't have to do a tour like Rush is doing. I'll be curious to see how Geddy sounds and how he holds up through all these different dates, but they're obviously spacing some things out, and they're also there looks like everything here is, except for Mexico City, is 2 shows. So California's 2 shows, then they go to Mexico, then they're in Texas for 2 shows, Chicago for 2 shows, New York for 2 shows at Madison Square Garden, and Toronto at Scotia Bank Arena for 2 shows. And then there's a Cleveland show, which is cool that they're going to Cleveland because of the history with Working Man and that city and helping to really get Rush out in the public. But I'll be curious to see some of those other tour dates that you had mentioned, Nate.
Me too. If they come close, maybe I'll try to go. But yeah, if the tickets are crazy, I don't know. I did see him already once, so I feel like I was fortunate, and that tour was really awesome how they did it, revisiting stuff from all throughout their whole career and changing their stage setups to represent what was going on when they were touring during those albums. It was pretty elaborate and really cool. Another thing I thought of with this drummer is that, so I mean, of course, playing Neil's drum parts, you'd have to be a very good drummer, but not as good as being the person who came up with those drum parts. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder, like, does this new drummer have some chops? I wonder if they've seen her in a creative process and have some inkling of like, wow, she's not just somebody who's going to come in here and play his parts, but she's got the chops to come up with stuff too. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, and he does discuss that where she played with Jeff Beck, so that tells you right there she's got some chops. And if you're going to be in Jeff Beck's band, that's.
Well, I don't know Jeff Beck's music very well. Just Neil's drumming was very particular and technical. I don't know anybody that I would really compare to how he drums. I don't know. We shall see. Maybe they'll. See. Maybe they'll record something.
They could write a song called Neil Peart, and then Geddy can sing it so everybody understands how to say it. So we can get everybody all on board. I'm looking at Reddit here. Oh, here we go.
We say like $430, $500.
Well, I think people are talking about is this R40? No, 50 something. That's the title of it. I hate when fucking people go into these lists and they talk about other shit. It's like, no, people want to know how much it's going to cost for this.
We don't care what you paid in 1979 when you saw Rush.
God, no shit. I saw Rush in a club and paid $5 at the door.
Yeah,
okay,
good
great.
for you, pal.
But what's the fuck? Good for you. Go discuss that in I'm fucking old Reddit group. You son of a bitch. Yeah, people are posting fucking tickets from the 90s and shit. Yeah, people are stupid.
Well, I don't think I'd spend hundreds on it. Yeah. $319.
I was seeing screenshots. What you saw? In Cleveland, $319 for C122 in Cleveland.
I'm going to go on a diet my next 10 months to be able to fit into my R30 baseball jersey. What the fuck? Funny.
Hey, if you can turn it into a positive, then by all means. Here we go. That's, $1,300 for 3 tickets.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you know what, man? If you're a huge Rush fan and you never got a chance to see them, it's probably worth it. I mean, they sound amazing live. So
the only problem is it's a fleecing of the fandom. That's what I hate. Is don't charge, it's the resellers. Let's get this clear. It's not Rush. That's the problem here. And they're going to fleece people, and it's like, oh my God, I get one more opportunity to see at least 2/3 of Rush, and they're going to, have to spend way more than they probably should. They have to, as far as that goes. I don't know I think there was some pre-sale events that they had, but of course that's long gone when they first announced this. But being a Rush in the Rush fan group, I think being one of their in the fan club, that may have helped for some of these people. But I'm gonna be hard pressed to spend that kind of money unless I have some sort of windfall. But I got bills to pay too, Nate. That's even with the windfall, it's better spent money elsewhere. We just actually added on. I guess I could have talked about that in the when we were catching up. We just had our deck replaced, and that wasn't cheap. And I didn't want to do the work. I don't have the time to do the work, and it needed to be done. So we just finally hired somebody. And kind of a good thing we did, because they found that the footings were rotting out, and the previous whoever built the deck didn't do a good job. So they fixed some of those failings, and it looks way nicer now, though, and it's more sturdy. And then we got the composite decking, or whatever the more modern version of that is.
Trex deck,
and we don't have to maintain it anymore and all that bullshit. So
yeah, I had my deck built with Trex deck, that plasticky type.
I think that's what it is.
2x4 type stuff on the bottom. The railings and all that are wood, but yeah.
Oh, really? We got metal.
Oh,
railings.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
All right, WATAIN is going to retire after they drop their final album. Swedish black metal titans WATAIN have revealed that their forthcoming 8th studio album will be the band's final offering of new material, marking the end of a remarkable 3-decade career.
How you feeling about that?
I'm not deep in WATAIN, though I do have their last album, The Agony and Ecstasy of WATAIN. They got some good stuff.
Deep in WATAIN sounds like what you tell your buddies. I'm going to the club. I'm going to be deep in WATAIN tonight.
My fingers were deep in WATAIN. Smell this.
Smell this. I don't know if I want to smell that. Back to the story.
We hereby announce that in 3 years' time, upon our 30th anniversary, WATAIN's 8th and final full-length album will be released. The album will mark the closure of a 30-year-long magical work. The last crossroad of WATAIN, after which the band will cease to exist. The ending of a triad of decades during which we have shared our sacred path through this strange world with you, our loyal audience, on a steady course towards the beckoning darkness of the end. So he says, take this message not as a farewell, but as the first note of a sacrificial requiem, as well as your invitation to partake in shaping these last years into something beyond compare. Praise be to the devil God, by whom our path is blessed, and upon whose altar we now place this humble offering to the death and far beyond. And WATAIN's last album, The Agony and Ecstasy of WATAIN, was released in April of 2022. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like they have some, based on whatever their magical leanings are, they have some pattern here as to their length of their career and their ending and whatnot. So that's that, man. No more WATAIN.
Huh. They're just copying Megadeth.
Yeah, everybody's on that bandwagon now.
Just like when Megadeth got a website, all the bands had to follow suit.
Everybody had to get one.
Well, Nate, here's a bit of fun news. Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers fame helps launch a scholarship at the University of Minnesota. So he was here this weekend, played with the marching band, and they had all sorts of different events and such. And luckily the Gophers won. So that was helpful as well. But yeah, I thought this was a bit of cool information. And Angel actually even sent me stuff on that going, hey, did you hear about this? Because we've got family that go to U of M, and her family, not mine, at least not that I'm aware of, at least. So here's what they have on this piece. There are many inspirations in music that young artists look to, and it's not often you actually meet them, though. At the University of Minnesota, that inspiration wasn't just on campus Saturday. He's helping out the next generation of students. What better place than where, it all began, Chad Smith, drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, said. Smith is originally from St. Paul, and his parents are graduates of the University of Minnesota. The Chad Smith Foundation launched in August, and Smith says it only made sense to start their first college scholarship at a place that means so much to his family. I remember hearing my early recollection when I was really young was the baseball stadium, which is now the Mall of America, was there, and you could hear now starting at first base, Harmon Killebrew. That's how long ago that was, Smith said. So yeah, it's close to our heart, our family's heart, and it's very authentic and real, and I think that connects with people. Smith performed Red Hot Chili Pepper songs with the students from the U of M School of Music Saturday afternoon at a luncheon benefiting the scholarship. There's this sort of barrier that can happen as you move out of high school and look for college. And is it possible to do music? Patrick Warfield, director of the School of Music, said. This scholarship will make it possible for many more students to come to the University of Minnesota and actually pursue their dreams. Warfield says that the scholarship is currently for one student at a time and launches next fall. He says it's for $10,000 and it is renewable each year for a 4-year degree. Warfield says that the scholarship will be ramped up over time, or scholarships, plural, will be wrapped up over time. Music is a good in its own right, and Chad is devoted to each of those things, recognizing that we can improve all sorts of aspects in a young person's life, Warfield said. And we want to make certain that we are also educating that next generation of music teachers that go out to the state of Minnesota and beyond to make certain every student has that opportunity. And we wrap up with, music is fun, and it's a healer. It's so many great things, Smith said. But, have fun with music, and if you're passionate about it and you love it, you're going to want to do it. So we're just here to help. And I'll have a link in the show notes if you want to find out about that scholarship, if you're interested, at dotwpod.com. And just in time, more music. Nate, it's interesting you brought up this drum that you got that's from India, and we did not synchronize this in any fashion. We have a band from India. I don't get to say that a whole lot, so it's very cool.
I wonder if they've got the Murdungum in their recordings.
You're about to find out. So here you go. This is a single that they released and sent in. This is Be Quick or Be Dead. It is not the Iron Maiden song. And check it out. From India, Kasck.
Be quick, or be dead. 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 There is no reason when there's no light. The walls behind you wanna see you fucking die. In the race of life, you get to hide. If you get survived, gonna eat you alive. You gotta be quick, or be dead. 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 Be quick, or be dead.
All right, there you go. Kasck from India. Be quick or be dead. Thanks for sending that in, guys. Appreciate it.
Chromags. Harley Flanagan calls out Metallica and Pantera. I'm good enough to inspire you and just not good enough to open up for you. Oh, man. I just thought this was the ultimate crybaby fucking story, so I thought I'd put it in here. Cro-Mag's frontman and bassist Harley Flanagan has openly voiced his frustration over what he sees as a lack of high-profiling tour opportunities despite the lasting influence his band has had on generations of metal and punk bands. In a social media post issued on September 16th, Flanagan addressed the issue directly. To all the famous bands that have been giving me love all these years and thanking me for the inspiration, etc., how about giving me a gig opening for your bands instead of giving me love when nobody's looking? Thank you. He elaborated further in the post caption, calling out some of the biggest names in music, everyone from Metallica to Pantera to Avenged Sevenfold to Green Day, Turnstile, and so on, have given me props, given me respect and love, and called me a legend. It would be nice if somebody gave us a gig instead of, LOL, I've been working hard since the 80s. How about a hand up, motherfuckers, instead of love when no one's looking? I'm good enough to inspire you, just not good enough to open up for you. You know, I really like Age of Quarrel, and I know people got into Best Wishes, but, you know, these guys, like, put out 2 pretty legendary albums. One of them is definitely legendary. The second one maybe not as legendary. Way back in the 80s, he's the only dude in the fucking band that was involved in any of that stuff. He's been a real colossal fuck up throughout his life. If you've just watched his stuff, you know, like unfold on the news and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe you should just look in the fucking mirror. Like Cro-Mags aren't, I don't know. Whatever they're doing today isn't, you know, I can't see Metallica being like, yeah, let's bring this fucking guy out. So I don't know, man. I thought it was just kind of funny that he's obviously just needing some money and he's bitter nobody's going to take him out on tour, but he hasn't really been relevant since then. Like, okay, you put out one album that really kicked ass and inspired a lot of people, but you ain't living the rest of your life off that one fucking album, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Does feel kind of desperate that he's out there calling out Metallica and the like for that. I mean, how many bands would Metallica and those guys have to bring out on tour that influence them or that, you know, that they love? And they're not bringing out Deep Purple. They're not bringing out, of course, not that Purple needs it, but they're not bringing out Diamond Head. You know, Diamond Head played fucking Savage, Minnesota here at a bar/club. And I was grateful for it. It's awesome. I got to see him up close and personal, got to meet the band, got autographs, got to shake hands, got pictures. And I don't see Metallica dragging Diamond Head out on tour, and they covered the hell out of Diamond Head. It didn't. So it's like, you know, it's not like they've got a history of them doing this, like picking a band from that they enjoyed in their childhood and their early years and drug them out on tour. I mean, Megadeth does a little bit more of that stuff, but I don't know if it's more peers than it is the influences. You know, they brought Overkill out with them, you know, and that was freaking awesome. But, you know, Overkill's relevant in still putting out killer music. This is, borderline desperate. Yeah,
probably of any of the bands that would do it would be Pantera, because Phil has often brought, you know, more underground stuff on tour, like especially in the 90s where he was bringing I Hate God out on the road and Morbid Angel and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. But the Cro-Mags have been out on tour with Motorhead and Overkill and some other, you know, bigger name metal bands back in the day when they were still somewhat in their heyday or whatever. So I don't know, man. I just, whatever. Had to throw a little controversy in the news, make it exciting.
I wonder, do these bands know that Cro-Mags are still out there?
Oh, who knows, man. And they just went through a lawsuit because John Joseph, who sang on Age of Quarrel and I forget which other album, but he was touring with the Cro-Mags and he was touring with their like original drummer. And then Harley was doing a Cro-Mags, and they went to, you know, court, and so one of them was Cro-Mags and one of them was Cro-Mags 2 or Cro-Mag's original or whatever the fuck, and then ultimately the judge just gave it to Harley because he was kind of the main guy or whatever that started the whole thing. But I really appreciate John Joseph on like his vegan stance and stuff like that. So I've kind of just followed him and watched some of this stuff unfold over the last 20 years or whatever between those two.
And you met him too, didn't you?
I did. I did a walking tour with John Joseph in the Lower East Side of New York, which was super fun.
Well, if he wants to open up for Disciples of the Watch podcast, we can hook that up.
Maybe when Mortificator hits it big, you can call him and be like, we were doing our podcast and we saw you were crying and stuff, so we just thought, hey, we'd offer you a shot here at going out on the road.
I think that might be there's probably a gentler way to put that than we heard you were crying.
He's a big tough guy too. That's why I'm kind of laying it thick on the crybaby stuff, because he's a fucking musclehead for real. And I know he's heavy in like jujitsu, and the guy grew up on the streets of fucking New York City. And so I'm sure he's no fucking slouch. He probably put a hurting on an average dude. You know what I mean? But it just makes it more fun to poke him a little bit about being a crybaby, because he is such a tough guy.
Well, yeah, and maybe Megadeth could bring him out. Dave gets into jiu-jitsu, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, maybe they could share some crack together. Dave wants. I don't know if Dave. I don't think Dave was the crack guy. I think he was the heroin guy.
Right. Now he's high on the Lord.
High on Jesus.
Well, here's another farewell. Nate, might as well keep it going. Lynch Mob announces a farewell album, and I think there's a tour involved as well. Dancing with the Devil is the name of the album. And of course, Lynch Mob, the band led by former Dokken guitar legend George Lynch, will release its 9th and final full-length studio album, Dance with the Devil, on November 28th of this year, marking the final chapter in the group's storied career. Storied, wow, that's a big word, Nate. For this storied, come on. I think the band wrote this, or they have people to write this stuff. I don't think this is, even though it's blabbermouth, it feels like it's taken right out of a press release.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To mark the announcement, the band shared the title track, which we will have in the links in the show notes for this episode if you want to check it out. Of course, you can always do just your general Google search or whatever search engine you're using, jump on Bing. But I continue here with this. George Lynch commented, "All the other records I've done in my life led me to this one. Dancing with the Devil is pretty much my magnum opus and swan song." Damn, those are some pretty big statements right there. If you're, because they had some run back when they first launched. So if, of course, you're everybody, like we make fun, this is the best and biggest thing. Exodus is touting their new album's going to be the best. It's going to blow everything out of the water. You're going to forget about all their discography because this is going to be the only album that you can.
Yep. Whoever heard of Bonded by Blood after you hear the new Exodus?
It's just going to completely wipe all that out. I'm looking forward to it. The album follows the success of their previous effort, Babylon, and showcases elements of classic Lynch Mob with a modern edge, fusing hard rock, blues, and soulful grooves with an unmistakable passion and energy. "We've always been about pushing boundaries and staying true to the fans," said Lynch, the band's founding member. "This new album is a reflection of where we are now, both as individuals and as a band. We've taken everything we've learned over the years and poured it into these songs." With Dancing with the Devil, Lynch and his band Lynch Mob deliver a bold and uncompromising last word, a completion of the musical legacy, closing the curtain on a storied chapter in American hard rock history. I should send that clip to them of me reading that. See if they put that in their videos. Reuniting the same lineup that lit up 2023's Babylon, vocalist Gabriel Colon, bassist Jaron Guillino, God, with these names.
Gulino.
Legless. What was her name again?
Jaron Gulino.
I'm trying to think of the Rush drummer.
ANIKA NILLES.
NILLES, thank you. I'm trying to burn that one in my brain. Drummer Jimmy DeAnda and Lynch himself. This final studio effort captures the chemistry of the band playing at full force. And Nate, wait, there's more. As a special bonus for European fans, this edition of the album includes the exclusive track Somewhere, not available on the US version, as a parting gift to their fan base that has supported the band throughout their journey. So a slap in the face to everybody that's not in Europe. If you were bigger fans out there, you would have got this bonus track, but because you weren't big enough fans, you don't get the bonus track, so fuck off.
That's how it should be. Our real fans are over here in Europe. The rest of y'all, just here's our run-of-the-mill record.
And how hard is it going to be for American fans that want to get that bonus track to get their hands on it? It's not hard. We got the fucking internet. We got global shipping. We got global shopping.
I won't even listen to it, so I don't even care, but you could probably hear it on Spotify.
That too. And who knows? Maybe it sucks balls. Maybe it's one of those the sneak tracks that they're going to put on there, and it's like, ooh, you gave this to the Europeans?
I can't even think of one Lynch Mob song.
Wicked Sensation?
I'd have to hear it.
Yeah, I think if you heard it, you go, oh, I've heard that played on 93X back in the day or something like that, or
I'll have to check it out.
Maybe accidentally on MTV.
Wasn't big on Dokken, not, just that whole whatever. Lynch, this never been not my draw.
Yeah, I didn't think this would be up your alley, other than I get to read all this fluff that they put in this press release. It's really selling things, I tell you that. So, Dancing with the Devil, Nate, isn't just another release. It's a farewell with force, a record that honors the past while asserting the band's place in rock history one final time. For Lynch Mob, the devil may have had one last dance, but they set the floor on fire. God. Oh, God. I need to find whoever wrote this and hire them. In 2020... In August of 2020, Lynch announced that he was ending Lynch Mob due to the racial insensitivity of the moniker, saying he would no longer record or perform under that name. 2 years later, George had a change of heart, explaining that he had to live with the fact that the name Lynch Mob had some negative connotations that I probably have to continue explaining for the rest of my life, and I don't mind doing that. But it is a brand that I built, and I'm just going to stick with it. As far as marketing thing and a brand thing, and a business thing and a working thing, and it keeps my band and guys working and fans happy, it makes sense. And I'll have a link in the show notes to this title track that they did release as a single, and the less than cool album art. I don't know. Nate, what are your thoughts on that?
Dumb. I don't like
it. You summed it up in a word. A single word. I don't think that one's going to make the press release after the album comes out, Nate.
Dumb.
Lynch Mob. Dumb. Nate. Disciples of the Watch.
Oh, man. That'd be awesome.
That would be.
Oh, boy. So David Ellefson, he's become the guy now on, like, there's always something up with David Ellefson since he's been kicked out of Megadeth.
Ted Nugent of 2025 here.
I guess now he's not under the Big Dave shadow, so he gets a little more time in the fucking light. But basically, he's questioning whether or not Dave Mustaine's farewell announcement is just an attempt to boost ticket sales.
Yeah, I saw this.
Which what do you think about that? Just before I even start reading any of this, do you think Dave Mustaine's that kind of a person? Has he ever come off like that kind of a guy?
No, he kind of says his piece, says what he thinks. I don't see him being, what's the word I'm looking for? Not clever. I don't see him being like this, where, obviously Junior's worked with him more than I'm familiar with Dave, but all the stuff you've ever seen regarding Megadeth and Dave Mustaine has been pretty much out front, I think, other than, maybe some of the discussions regarding Risk. And, I know that Marty says one thing and Dave says another, but for the most part, I feel if Mustaine is saying this is it kind of feels like it might be, but I'm always of the caveat of a person can change their mind.
Yeah. So that could happen. And listen, there's nobody, you could never guarantee anything, because even in your own life, you could say, I'll never do this. And then one day you find yourself doing it. So, as far as like if a reunion happens or whatever, that nobody could ever say for sure. But I don't, from what I've seen with Dave Mustaine over all the years that I've been a fan, ever see any behavior that would make me think that he's like conniving or like a schemer, you know what I mean? Or he's just out to make a buck off his fans. He just doesn't, he's never really come across that way in my opinion. And I think he's really about his fans, even a lot more than maybe some other musicians and bands in his stature. You know what I mean? He's like created a whole fucking genre of music, and I think he's just remained very cool to his fan base. And I know he's been a real asshole, in media and with other bands and all this other stuff. But I don't know, when it comes to his fans and his music, I just don't think he's a bullshitter. Yeah,
I agree. I don't see this as like some sort of bullshit cash grab type of thing where he's being subversive. That's why I'm curious. And it almost feels like maybe Ellefson, as he's getting older, some guys get older and they start to get paranoid and cranky and the cranky old man, type of thing that, was in TV and movies. And there's a realness to that. Sometimes people get softer as they get older, and sometimes people get, they go the other way. And I'm almost wondering, is Ellefson heading in that direction?
Turning into a curmudgeon while Dave Mustaine is becoming the softer guy after a lifetime of being the curmudgeon? Because, I don't know if Dave Mustaine used to always be in the media saying some really crazy shit all the way up until, it's been like, he was really into the conservative stuff. He was really, on that. And then it just stopped one day, and you almost don't hear him in the media anymore at all about anything other than just talking about his music. No more about his political stance, no more about his religious stuff. Like I don't really see any of that anymore unless people aren't just grabbing interviews and putting it out. I don't really know, but it just seems like just dropped out.
They would if Blabbermouth could write a story about three words that Dave Mustaine would say, and they could turn it into a piece that would take 5 minutes to read because they're going to add so much bullshit fluff and history to it. They would.
Yeah.
So I think, Dave, you're right. I think Dave's made a conscious effort to, not have to be out there talking about world events and stuff that's going on. He's going to say it through his music.
Yeah.
Which he's done. I mean, he's always been political in his lyrics and stuff and talking about world events and stuff like that. But, to your point, he's also very, eager to talk about it in the press. And that has pulled back. Has it been since he battled his cancer that maybe it's like, you know what, maybe I don't have to be that guy anymore?
Yeah, it could be.
Now David Ellefson's picking up the torch and running with it. I'm going to be in the press. They're going to talk about me. I'm the important guy. I'm pulling up the big boy pants.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he's just, you can't take away his contribution to Megadeth, and he was there all this time from the beginning. We know the story. He was upstairs playing the fucking Van Halen riff on the bass, and Dave went up and blah, blah, blah. It's all history. But, just like all the guitarists and all this stuff around Dave Mustaine, like he generated this shit, the early Metallica stuff, all his own career. He is the common denominator. Dave Ellefson is not the common denominator. So no matter what he contributed to that, he is not that he doesn't have that status in metal history, in my opinion. And I've no doubt the whole fucking jerking off thing with an underage girl at his age is that completely put me off the fucking guy, period. But and then he's just continued on with, he just talks about shit like, just shut the fuck up, dude. You know what I mean? That's all.
Well, technically, I don't think she was underage. I think that was...
She was one day over 18, so we're all good.
I think they put that in the press just to try to make it seem like it was worse than it was, but not to, not making any apologies for what he had done. And, obviously the hurt that he put on his relationship and his family and such. But
yeah,
that was an interesting, it seems like he's trying to whitewash that and forget it. And usually people I think would stop wanting to be in the press because, every time I see him come up in the press, and especially when it's him kind of going sideways at people, it's like, but dude, didn't you just jack off in a fucking video and get busted having a internet relationship with somebody, even though you're married?
And he's an old fucking man, okay? It's not like he's 30 and she's 18, or he's 25 and she's 18. He's like 60 fucking years old and she's 18. The creepy motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. It's lucky he didn't go to fucking prison and end up like that fucking Ian dude. I almost put that story in here today, but I chose not. He got fucking shanked to death. So that's what happens. Motherfucking creeps. All right, back to the Dave Mustaine, the Dave Ellefson opinion. He says, honestly, because he was asked about what do you think about this farewell tour? And he says, honestly, I don't think about it that much. I think probably everybody else thinks about it more for me than I do.
Liar.
Liar! Liar!
Get back, witch!
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
But he's the one talking about it. So
Fucking liar.
he said, it's been a rocky road for sure. Obviously, there have been some moments sublime, and there have been moments that I just scratched my head over. But at the end of the day, look, Dave said 4.5 years ago he doesn't want to play music with me anymore, so I just left it there and moved on.
Liar.
I'm not sitting around waiting for a call.
Liar.
I think Dave Mustaine wrote a song about this guy called Liar.
Fucking A, right.
I think it was about what is other guitarist. Anyways, I've already offered if it should come my way, I'd be happy to participate on some level. Yeah, it's just funny because he kind of gets into he plays nice, in here, and he's probably hoping Dave's going to be like, hey, do you want to come out and play some final songs on the final tour? So he said, circling back to Megadeth, Ellefson said, if it really is a farewell. If it really is, and it's not just an attempt to boost ticket sales, because we've all seen this movie before, boost ticket sales, go away, then the bigger offers come after everybody's gone away for a couple of years. I mean, we've seen how this works, but look, if Dave needs to shut it down and call it quits because he's just had enough and he's been through it all, then hey, you know what? As a still friend to him, even when we haven't spoken almost 5 years, you know what? God bless you, brother. Put it away with grace and go enjoy the rest of your life. So if he really is shutting it down and he's really going to put it away, then please do so with dignity and grace and do what you do and say and mean what you say. Because I think that farewell thing has been thrown around so much by so many people that it doesn't have much weight to it. We've just seen it over and over again. So you've really got to shut it down and put it away and go enjoy the rest of your life.
I almost wonder if he's talking about Slayer on this.
Yeah, but they did. I mean, they've done some, like some one-off, handful of one-off shows, but they haven't like reunited or in the sense of whatever.
But he's talking like, if you say this, you should never do anything creative in that name ever again, because fuck you if you do. And I hate that. I fucking hate that. People need to make decisions and they'll make changes, but and they maybe don't like those things, so they'll revisit it, and it's like, you know what, like GEDDY and fucking Alex, we've been dead for 10 years and we miss it and we want to do it again. We want to celebrate our music and we want to celebrate our friend Neil Peart with ANIKA NILLES. So, but for fuck's sake, you're not in the band, you don't get to call the shots and you don't get to say what Dave gets to do. And nobody does. If you bought a CD, it doesn't give you permission to fucking tell the band how to run the shit. And I hate that fucking mentality, he said final album, if I'm not mistaken. This was going to be their final tour and final album. Is that correct? Am I remembering that?
That's what I remember as well.
Now, I don't know if he's discussed the possibility of doing like a Slayer thing where it's like, hey, twice a year, we're going to go play a festival. And who knows, in the attempt to maybe record down the road, but you're here. Dave's a creative person. I'd like to see him still write and do things. If he can't sing, get a vocalist, maybe bring back that MD45 or where the fuck that thing was called that he did, and work with a vocalist if that's the problem here. And maybe it is the touring cycle. He's sick of it. And the thought of putting out an album going, okay, well, this is how we've always done it. We got to put out an album and then we got to tour it around the world for 3 years. If that's not in the cards anymore, just fucking do what you need to do.
Maybe he's just going to kick it with his wife and daughter and make wine. They have like vineyards and stuff, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I know he's got his name on that. And I know they've got Megadeth beer that's Unibrow, I think is the brand that puts that out.
I think his wife and daughter have
beers.
like full blown vineyards, their own. Not just like teamed up with a company and put the name on it type deal. I think they actually have like they do the full deal.
Nice.
Anyways.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, that feels familiar. But at any rate, and then his daughter was trying to do a country career. I'm not sure if that's still in the cards or if that just
she's just doing the wine stuff. I just saw something about that. Oddly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Where she's doing the wine. I think it's her and her mother, and she's not doing music.
Mustaine Vineyards. I'm not sure. I did a search for Electra Mustaine, and that was one of the things that came up with something about. Oh, there's a picture of them out at a winery, picking grapes. The mother and daughter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens when the smoke clears on Megadeth's career, and if Dave's going to incorporate. I'd like to see him at least incorporate him in the last show or something like that. Because like you mentioned, he wasn't pretty important, and he was this part of the glue, that kept Megadeth together for so many years until he wasn't. And do you remember? I don't think we covered it in here on the podcast, but. He was talking about that there was forces outside of Mustaine that were keeping him out of Megadeth. Do you remember when he was talking about that?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I don't know if he's trying to take a stab at the management or if it's family. Like Dave's wife doesn't want him around because
he's a
maybe
creep.
she feels bad that. Yeah. It's like I don't want to open my front door and see this masturbator. It's like that's going to be a first thing you think of when you see the guy. He's like, oh yeah,
you're that guy.
You're that guy who.
It's funny.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
When I was young and I was just listening to Megadeth, and you hear like the bass line and stuff and like Peace Cells and whatnot, and you think, Dave Ellefson. But later on in life, you find out he didn't even write those iconic bass lines. Dave did. Dave Mustaine did. So I don't know. I'm a Dave Mustaine fanboy. That's just the way it is. I'm same with Phil Anselmo. There are a couple, having listened to metal, since I've been 10 years old, those guys have just really stuck out as some of my favorites in the metal scene.
And also I'm looking forward to hearing, the one track that's out, the lead guitar, it sounds great. And it's the new guy.
Timu, or no, is that the last guy?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, Timu.
Okay.
Now I'm blanking on it.
Yeah. It's just fun to rip on Ellefson a little bit. So I'm bummed out. I mean, on one hand, I'm bummed out that Megadeth's retiring, but my favorite music from Megadeth was recorded way back in the fucking day. And so he hasn't ever come out with anything that's hit me as strong as everything up through Rust in Peace or even Countdown to Extinction. But I've still enjoyed a lot of Megadeth over the years, but my favorite stuff was way back in the day. So even though they're going away, like those albums are still my go-to albums, and they always will be, and they're always going to be there. So, if it's time for him to be done with it, respect. Thanks for all the years of fucking killer metal, man. We wouldn't even have thrash metal and whatever's come from it if we wouldn't have had Dave Mustaine.
Definitely very important in our world as far as fans of thrash.
I mean, Gary Holt probably would have ended up taking the torch. Dave just kind of ran him over, but
well, you got to have the songs and you got to have the drive, and you can't let that you can't hope that somebody just picks up your band and fixes your problems and runs your ship, and that's what Exodus did. And obviously, it doesn't work that way, and it comes down to the songs first and foremost. Yeah, and like I said, I have no problem with masturbation. I'm doing it right now, actually.
I have been this whole episode.
Damn, you got some stamina.
Well, it's the fourth time today, so
Hell yeah. Those blue pills work wonders.
I fucking rub that thing right off.
Yeah, be careful, yeah. Don't want to break it. You're married, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's get off that subject and into some music. Up next, we got Midnight Vice. These guys are from the United States of America. I don't know why I always say it that way when I talk about bands from the USA, but there you go. This is from the self-titled album from Midnight Vice. Of course, that would be Midnight Vice. The song I selected to share with you is Mysteria. Check it out.
Revealing those that
All right, there you go. That was Midnight Vice with the song Mysteria. You can check them out at midnightviceofficial.com. And of course, we'll have links in the show notes so you can link to them there as well. Thanks to Head First Entertainment for sending that in. We do appreciate it. And of course, that was the news. If you're in a band and you'd like to be considered to be played on the Disciples of the Watch podcast, please email us at music@dotwpod.com or attach or just use our Gmail address, which is dotwpod@gmail.com. I know, Nate, I'm freaking GoDaddy sent me some other thing about this fucking email situation again. I thought we had it all wrapped up, but now they're saying I have to log into it. And it's like, we don't have a login for it. When I set up the account back in 2014, because we've been doing this since 2014, that we get names associated, and we had one for you and we had one for me, and we had music and we had news. And yeah, so it's a huge clusterfuck, but at any rate, we're still getting the mail, but we may need to start pushing people into dotwpod.com at gmail.com. Sorry. dotwpod@gmail.com. So caught everybody up with that. And of course, stay tuned to the podcast feed. Don't forget to subscribe so you can hear all sorts of goodies. We are discussing doing a testament track by track on the latest album that just was released as of this recording. And then of course, we have to revisit our worst to best and see where it would fit in. So we're going to do that as like an addendum to that episode. So it's not going to be, we're not going to rehash the whole worst to best testament. We're just going to see where it fits in on our personal worst to best. And of course I got music specials coming out and still trying to get that 1983 time travel radio done for you guys as well. So stick around, stay tuned. And of course, if you be so inclined, check out our Patreon and help support the show via that method. And that will definitely help some things out. Nate, you and I have been talking about doing some Patreon exclusive content. And yeah, we definitely got to get some of that rocking for the supporters. Now, the final talker, Nate. This is interesting. I'm curious where you found this. Oh, Loudwire.
Yeah, so I found a Loudwire list that said, 58 Megadeth songs that they've never played live. And so I clicked on it and I started scrolling through, but under it, there's another list. And it is the most played song live off of each Megadeth album. And then below that is the least. So I decided to take those and put them into a list instead of the 58 songs that they didn't play. So if you go to dotwpod.com to look at our show notes and you click this link, you're going to see a list of 58 songs never played live by Megadeth. But if you want to look at the list that I'm going to read, it's down below that list. So we could have put that list in too. It was somewhat interesting, but I thought we'd go with the least and the most and the least. So we're going to start with the most. Megadeth, Killing Is My Business. The most played song live is Mechanics. They've played it 383 times.
I can see that.
I can see that too. Actually, as I've read through this, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. All these. So off of Peace Sells.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of that.
Yeah. So Megadeth.
But that one's special because another band recorded that song under a different name with different lyrics.
Yes, they did. They did a very cool version of it called The Four Horsemen, as we all know.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so Peace Sells, they played that song 1,787 times. So far, so good, so what? They've played In My Darkest Hour 1,366 times. Off of Rust in Peace, the most played song is Holy Wars, The Punishment Due, 1,716 times. Countdown to Extinction's most played song is Symphony of Destruction, 1,640 times.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Euthanasia, It's a Tout le Monde, 1,100 times. Cryptic Writings, Trust, 1,277 times. Yeah, what other song would they be playing live off that? And same with this one.
Yeah, and then
with Risk,
say the next one
Crush
too.
'Em, 108 times. All of these are way lower now, but as you would imagine, because they're all newer albums, and so yeah, they haven't had the longevity yet. The World Needs a Hero. The most played song is Dread in the Fugitive Mind, 218 times. From United Abominations, Washington is Next, 219 times. The System Has Failed, the most played song was Kick the Chair, 298 times. Off of Endgame, the most played song is Head Crusher, 276 times. The most played song off of 13 is Public Enemy Number 1 with 187 times. Super Collider's most played song is Kingmaker, 131 times. Dystopia's most played song is Dystopia, 320 times. And their last album...
Look at that bump up.
Yeah. They do not spend a lot of time in a lot of these albums, but Dave has said just even recently that his favorite album by Megadeth is either Rust in Peace or Dystopia. So he's pretty proud of this Dystopia album for a later album. Anyways, shows here. Plays a lot of that. And off to Sick the Dead and the Dying, the most played song is We'll Be Back 87 times. They've played that one. All right, now we're going to look at the least played off of every Megadeth album.
Real quick, Nate. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs that have never been played off of Risk.
Yeah.
So there's like 10 or 12 songs on there? That's a lot that never got fucking traction at all. Because I'm looking at that list that you were not talking about. Yeah. Even Cryptic Writings only had 3 songs that haven't been played.
Yeah.
But Risk is a collection. Same with The World Needs a Hero. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And some of these later ones I could see, because they haven't been around as long. And, of course, when you start to build a catalog and people want to hear a lot of the good stuff and they don't necessarily want to hear you drag out the song that not a whole lot of people care for from one of the more recent albums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see some of these not getting that play.
All right, so here's the least played songs off of Killing My Business is Skull Beneath the Skin. They've played that 48 times. From Peace Sells, they've done Bad Omen 89 times. From So Far, So Good, So What, they played 502 5 times. Off of Rust in Peace, they played Rust in Peace Polaris 99 times. Countdown to Extinction's least played song is Crown of Worms. They've played it 5 times. Euthanasia, least played song, Victory, 9 times. Cryptic Writings, least played songs, FFF. They've played that 25 times. Least played song off of Risk is 2 songs, which is tied. I'll Be There and Time at the beginning. They played each of those 2 times. The World Needs a Hero, least played song, Coming Home, 2 times. United Abominations, Never Walk Alone, A Call to Arms, 58 times. The System Has Failed, Of Mice and Men, 44 times. Endgame, The Right to Go Insane, 19 times. 13. Oh, they played this? So this is interesting, okay? So 13, the least played song is Never Dead. They've played it 45 times.
Wow.
That's not even an album that even comes up in my mind oftentimes as, you know what I mean, to think of to listen to, but that's a fair amount
and that one's
compared
got
to a lot of these.
It's got a lot that have not been played. Almost the whole fucking album has not been played live.
Yeah. But that one song
it's
is...
like they played... Yeah. Damn.
Let's see. Super Collider's least played song is Dance in the Rain 14 times. Dystopia's least played song is Lying in State 31 times. And The Sick, the Dead, the Dying. The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, least played song is Soldier On 24 times.
Check this out. Dystopia. There's only been 3 songs that have not been played live.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
So that's a huge jump. And I'm not even going to look at the last one because that came out in 2022 and how much work, how many times. Well, there's a lot on this list, but as far as that album specifically, but Dystopia getting so much run, and it was kind of a comeback album, especially after Super Collider. 13 wasn't that great. Endgame was pretty decent. So yeah, they needed what they got out of Dystopia as far as a kick-ass album.
Yeah. So that I heard a clip of the new song, one of their new songs, and it sounds to me a lot like everything that, from World Needs a Hero onward, taking out Super Collider, of course, because that was like an anomaly.
Yeah.
But they almost like picked up a sound Dave did with The World Needs a Hero, and it's just, to me, they've had a similar sound ever since. The albums have varied, but there is like a commonality there. And the new song has that same sound, in my opinion.
It's almost like he wrote all of this music in that year and just kept it in a box. And he's like slowly releasing it as these albums.
That could be.
Because, you're right. I felt the same exact way. I'm like, this sounds like a lot of what we've already heard. It didn't stand out to me.
Yeah.
lyrically, or I was probably paying more attention to the new lead guitar player, and I did play it on the radio show at KFAI just because I was like, oh, it came out, and I was on the air that weekend, so I ended up playing it on the show just to kind of give the fans a taste. Anybody that hadn't heard it yet, but yeah, nobody like was chiming in with like, oh my God, this is going to be a great album to finish their career on. It's like, well, it sounds like a lot of the last however many albums. So yeah, nothing special regarding this one as far as just the one track that's been released. So yeah, I am in full agreement with you there, Nate, which reminds me, I do have to pre-order that too.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. I did for sure. Yeah. Regardless.
Yeah.
It's like the final one. So I'm going to just get it. Fuck it.
Reminds me, I want to see, those are 58 songs they still haven't played live. I was looking to see if there's anything off of So Far So Good, So What, but either everything got played off of that album or they didn't cover, because it sounds like they cover anything that didn't get played they're going to have on this list. And there's only 58 songs out of everything they've recorded.
Yeah.
As far as originals. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I'm into the most. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting information in that piece. So if you want to get more Megadeth in your life, then click on that link at the show notes, dotwpod.com. Yeah, interesting stuff. And that's one thing, too, is regarding this final tour, it's going to take a while because, he wants to hit every place that Megadeth has played and maybe some new places along the line. We'll see what happens. And, of course, we'll see what happens with the world as we get in the next 3 years, too. Things may change. But, for one, I'm going to say it again. Whatever Dave decides to do after this is Dave's decision. If he decides he's going to play festivals a la Slayer, or if he's going to write a song every once in a while and release it, more power to him. And I just get annoyed with the press and fans, air quotes, saying, well, you said this was going to be the last. And of course, now he's got his own former bandmate. And of course, in Ellefson's own words, his friend saying it's a cash grab. I think it's a cash grab.
Yeah. Maybe Dave's going to go off and be a ghostwriter for Metallica.
He should. They could use a
make
good
Metallica
song.
Great again.
Hell yes. Bring
MMGA.
Dave Mustaine back in as a writer. At the very least, for fuck's sake. All right, Nate. Well, yeah, cool bits of information in there. Cool stuff to talk about. And a lot of good songs that got played. Hell yeah. Maybe I could see a lot of those ones that didn't get played. It's like, yeah, I can see it. But yeah, Dystopia. I should go listen to that. At any rate, we need to end with a song. Nate, what are we going to listen to?
Well, I went with what I thought was the best song out of the least played songs, and that is 502.
I agree. That's a kick-ass song.
Yeah, there's no duds on that whole album, except for the cover.
The cover. That's
That's
weak
my
point.
thoughts on Peace Sells, too. No duds except for the cover, which I used to like the cover at once upon a time, but now I'm just like, this is fucking garbage.
If there's a song to skip, that's it. It's both of those covers on those albums.
Totally.
And not this one. This is a kick-ass song and, of course, a Mustaine original. 502, Megadeth. So Far, So Good, So What? One of my favorite albums from Megadeth. It is my favorite. No, that's right. It got knocked off when I finally had to, I think on the list, I finally gave due to Rust in Peace, if I remember correctly.
I think that's what I remember as well.
Yeah, it finally knocked it off my top list. Had the same epiphany with Overkill and Years of Decay and Horoscope. That was another one that was a tough come to Jesus moment, bringing things back to the Ellefson, the come to Jesus moment. Or come on, wait,
what?
No, we're not going to go there, Nate. We're going to end on a high note here. Nate, always a pleasure hanging with you. And until next time, my friends.
Stopped for a 502. Next time, it's going to be you.
Nice.
Full tank, pocket slam cash, full throttle.
fingers were deep in WATAIN. Smell this.
Thank you for listening to Disciples of the Watch. This episode was produced by Gene Vogel and Nathan Matnich. All music is property of the artist or the publisher. Please buy music and support the art we all love. Editing on this episode was done by Gene Vogel. Check out our website, DotWPod.com, for show notes, links, and more information on the show, as well as connections to social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the show using your preferred podcast application, or use our FeedBurner RSS feed listed on our website. Plug it into your browser or whatever app you're using, and then you will get all of the goodness moving forward. And you can also download the show as MP3 files from DotWPod.com. If you'd like to support the show, please click on the support us link at our website. As well, we have Patreon, so you can do a monthly contribution if you so desire, or purchase some of our merch from our website. Thank you for listening, friends, and stay heavy.